The current show at George Street Playhouse in New Brunswick is What Became of Us by Sean Luffy, and it's directed by acclaimed actress and writer Laiona Michelle, part of GSP's artistic producing triumvirate. The play will run through this weekend, April 5th. Leonie, great to see you again.
It's always great to see you, Doug. Thank you so much for having us today.
I'm very excited. Now, What Became of Us is described as a close look at a relationship shaped by memory, conflict, and enduring love. This two-hander follows a pair of siblings whose paths diverge and reconverge throughout their lives and examines how a shared childhood can lead to different experiences, even for those who grow up under the same roof. The production stars Tony Award winner Francis Jew. Francis, great to have you on the show.
I'm so happy to be here with you, Doug.
Thrilled to have you, an award-winning actor, playwright, and filmmaker, Christine Toy Johnson. What a pleasure it is to have you here.
You too. Thank you so much.
An intimate story of siblings whose lives take drastically different paths. Have you two ever worked together before?
Oh, geez.
Yes.
Yes. I could be your grandfather, Doug. As long as Chris and I have known each other. We met when in 1984, and it was my first professional gig, and Chris had already, been a working actor since she was a child, but um, we met doing the first New York revival of Pacific Overtures in 1984 at the Promenade Theater in New York.
And I know Pacific Overtures has a very special place in your heart, Francis, because it was really the first exposure you had to this whole thing about theater, right?
Truly, my first exposure to Pacific Overtures was when my English teacher played one of the songs, Please Hello, in English class when I was a sophomore in high school. And I learned about um, irony and satire with Asian actors playing ambassadors from Amsterdam and France and England and America and Russia. And I also learned that, it was possible for Asians to be performers. I had very rarely seen Asian actors on stage or on television or on film, and so it was mind bending. And so for that to be my first gig and to do it with Chris, it was such a golden opportunity. I feel very, very lucky to have had that kind of experience to start off with.
Well, a beautiful thread between the three of you is the ability to tell stories that need to be told that may not have been told without the three of you. And that's what's, so important when you look at this. Christine, knowing that you have performed a lot with Francis, was it easier or harder to play a sibling in this role?
Oh, such a gift. So easy. I mean, I can't, this play is so incredible in its poetry and its depth and intensity. And I can't imagine doing this with anybody else in the world but Francis. And so we just have we've talked a lot about how we've been able to jump over that initial hurdle that comes naturally with any show, like getting to know the other actor, getting to know each other's sense of humor and building trust. And we have so many decades of that under our feet. So it's been incredible.
And Leona, I'm sure you could feel the power from these two actors early on. How has it been working with the crew here?
Let me tell you something, Doug. I struck gold here. I struck gold here. I called the casting director that we work with, Pat McCorkle. She's one of my favorites. And she said to me, she said, Leona, who do you want to work? Who should we call in for auditions? And I said, well, I don't want to call anybody for auditions, but I'll tell you who I want to work with. And I immediately knew that it was Francis and Christine. And she's like, oh, okay, okay. And I knew that I was really being bold with my request there. So when they said yes, It's just been a gift from day one. I came into the rehearsal room and it felt like a familiar space of family. Like we just was so communal. I didn't know they knew each other or even worked together. So it was very familiar from day one. And because of that, uh, the work that we um, dove into was so collaborative and safe, and you don't get that always. And so it's just been a gift that keeps on giving. I light up when I see the show day after day, and it just keeps getting richer and richer. And that's just the power of live theater. So at this point, as a director, my hands are off of it, but rightfully so, because I've passed the torch to two more than capable, gifted, talented human beings that know better than me. They really are a tremendous gift to work with, and I'm telling you, for the folks who come to see the show, they'll be in agreement. They'll be in agreement. So this is your last week. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, yeah. It's such a mutual admiration society here. I mean, it really starts from the top, and Leona set the tone immediately, welcoming us in and trusting us. And that, again, is not something you can take for granted or just assume will happen. So everything, happy, happy synchronicity all around.
You hit one of the key words there, Christine, trust. And we see it
Mm.
when there's trust on stage, power is created. And from working together, but also knowing the world that we're living in right now, Francis, I would imagine this is a very timely message that's being sent here that you put yourself into these roles and they're believable roles, obviously.
Yeah, I think that I've long felt that anytime that I have an opportunity to be on stage, on film, on television, is a a real golden opportunity, you know, and a real act of um, resistance in a way, because it's so rare, you know, to see um, people like us on stage just telling a human story. And this play in particular, I think, is particularly moving to me. And one of the reasons, in addition to working with Leona and with Chris, one of the biggest reasons to do it for me was that it's about a pair of siblings who grow up together, they grow apart, take different paths, and it also explores their capacity for reconciliation. And I think that that reconciliation is something that we need right now, and it's something that I think audiences grow to want from these two siblings as they're watching the play, and it's that want um, that I hope that they take with them from the theater, you know, because the world could use a little bit more understanding, a little more compassion, a little more um, wanting to know each other. And so I think that that's something that this play really does explore as much as it is a family play. It's, you know, the people who know us the best.
And the fact that the playwright uses initials Q and Z as the characters' names lends you to believe that it's a universal theme, that this anybody can put themselves in the shoes of Q and Z, right, Christine?
Yes, and we've heard that from so many audience members who come to see us, and they're from all different backgrounds, and they immediately relate to their own family experiences, no matter where they're from. And I do know that it's intentional, intentionally broad in that way that Cheyenne wrote, so that we can show how much, even through all of the specificity that we bring, how much more alike we are than different. And also, I think, such a potent idea that we need to underline, triple underline, and highlight, especially today as there's so much divisiveness.
Leona, we like to say that we learn from everything that we do. What have you learned from working with Christine and Francis?
Oh, so much. So much. The one thing learned, immediately learned, was how much I miss getting up there on the stage and acting myself. I see these two pros go at it, and my imagination runs wild. They're both such have such rich internal lives. This is what we study in grad school. This is what we strive to be. And here I am with a Tony Award winner, Francis, and a Tony honoree, Christine, and they really are giving a master class at acting. And so I'm in the room as the director, still learning. I'm still a student in many ways, learning the craft of acting. And it's exciting to me because it's been a while since I've stepped on the stage as an actress. And I'm so turned on by it. But yeah, I learned so much. And then also on a personal level, I'm learning from them um, daily grace. They come in and it's always so graceful when so much is being thrown at you. You're getting costumes being thrown at you, marketing is being thrown at you, audience feedback is being thrown at you, director's notes are being thrown at you. And let me tell you, they're taking it all and they're taking it all so gracefully. I remember when I was a younger actress, I wasn't taking notes was a challenge, and I see that with a lot of actors, how challenging it could be when you're giving your all and it can sometimes feel like you're kicking a can down the road when you're trying to massage a piece of text or a moment by moment beat. And these two, they come into rehearsal and it's always met with grace, always met with like an open spirit. And so I've learned that, and I hold on to that because there's days that we wake up, we turn on the news, and the news can get on your skin, and you can carry that with you, or you could choose to not carry that with you and choose grace. And these are two people, two human beings that are tremendously graceful, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Interpreting somebody else's work and then directing this play, do you like to look at what has been done in the past, Leona, or do you like to say, this is my fresh approach to this?
Sometimes I do like to look at what's been done in the past. And with this play, I wasn't able to look at what's been done in the past, but we did have the opportunity to talk a bit with the writer, and that was uh, really good for us. Even though he didn't give us all the golden nuggets, he kind of gave us the baton to kind of run with it. And I think I needed that license because when you open up this script, there's very little stage directions there. And so you can either embrace that or or shy away from it all. And with this show, it really compels you to embrace it, to take all the descriptive language, the poetic nuances of the piece, the storytelling, and have fun with it. So this is the first time I've worked in this way where um, I read a script and my imagination daily ran wild as I moved through different rooms with the actors and then with the costume designer and then back to the set designer. Like we were constantly working in real time. Like the work never stopped, and now here we are with the audience and it feels like there's another unfolding with this. This playwright, he's really a fresh writer. Yeah, a fresh writer, and I think Christine and Francis would agree. This is a really unique piece of art.
Yes, and it's funny. We've been talking about how it is so much about the process, and the process
Yeah.
continues through this entire run because every day we get a chance to do the play together. We have it's a new experience, which is true in live theater anyway. But there's something about there's unpeeling the onion of this play that is just
Yeah.
continually fascinating and growing and changing and living and breathing within the parameters that are there for us.
Yeah, it's a really
Francis,
unusual play. When I first read it, I thought, how does this work? I had no idea. And one of the things that attracted me to it was, let's figure that out. And meeting Cheyenne Lotfi in the first week of rehearsal via Zoom. One of the greatest gifts he had for us was when he said, that it was ours and we could, that the play actually depended a lot on who was playing it and who was
Mhm.
directing it. And it was designed in order for people to put their own stamp on it, their own sense of relationship and their own sense of other onto it,
Mhm.
and that was a real gift and a responsibility too, that I think that we embraced, and it
Yes.
it does keep changing because every day we wake up different people.
Mhm.
Hearing you talk, Francis, I don't think you do Broadway and do plays for the recognition for the Tony Award. But hearing for Yellowface, the Tony Award goes to Francis Chu. What did that mean to you?
It was shocking. I knew that I was not going to win. I mean, that was just
And I knew he
a
was going
fact.
to win.
Well, I wish somebody had been able to convince me. And so I went through, the process of doing the play and award season, just having the best time doing the work, having the best time doing a play that I really believed in, like this one, What Became of Us, and um, feeling like I was able to articulate things that are much more difficult to articulate in real life. Thank God that there are playwrights around who can help us do that, and have real conversations with people, and then to record it for great performances on PBS, where it's still available. It was all just such a wonderful company, a wonderful play, a wonderful process. Award season became just about celebrating each other and going up to people that I didn't know but have admired for a long time at these events and saying, I really like you. You do great work. And so all I was doing was having fun. And so it was a shock. Um, I did know that if I did win and I was at a mic that could speak to millions of people at the same time, I wanted to say something not just about me or about the play, but I wanted to take the opportunity to acknowledge the moment that we were in, that really has continued in many ways. I wanted to acknowledge that it was the very first season in on Broadway in 78 years of Tony history that so many Asian artists were being acknowledged, and that there was that much opportunity for Asians on Broadway, even. I wanted to acknowledge that we're living in a time when arts have a particular opportunity and a particular responsibility to speak truth, when there are forces that are trying to provide alternative facts, quote unquote. And so, I wanted to use that moment really to speak to the industry and to my my community, about how we need to move forward, because this country needs us right now. And I really feel that strongly, while doing this play at George Street Playhouse with Laiona, with Chris, um, because I think that this is a play that we need right now.
Yeah, it was evident watching your backstage speech after winning,
Oh,
just how eloquent you are when you're expressing your thoughts and ideas, and it was really powerful. You know, one of the most powerful performances I ever saw was David Hyde Pierce in Love Letters, where you're just reading those love letters back and forth. And this play kind of reminded me a little bit of this because when I see the two of you embrace on stage, Christine, David Hyde Pierce told me, he said, I just imagined that I was losing my friend, and
Mm.
all these emotions came out. Is that how you approach this too? That I'm reuniting with my brother, in this case would be Francis, and knowing what that would mean to you?
I'm in the that is one of my favorite moments of the play, just being present in that moment and seeing him after what has been a long absence for the characters. And really, I don't have to replace any thoughts. Inserting something made it. I'm just so joyous to see him, joyful, and that hug is a combination of my joy as the character and also my love of this human being, Francis Chu. So it's a win-win for me. Very lucky moment to get to do that in front of all the people sitting in the audience as well.
You can tell, Francis, she doesn't care about you at all. You
I
just
know.
it
I
it
Feelings
it
know.
it,
mutual.
it, it is so obvious. Leona, this has become quite a collaboration for you at George
Yes,
Street
indeed.
now, right? Did you
Oh,
imagine that this was would eventually happen, or
uh, uh, could I have imagined this moment happening?
where you're at now? Because you started off as this wonderful performer, and now you're so
I,
much deeper involved in the whole theater
yeah,
production area, you know?
you know, I didn't see any of this happening. And to be honest, I didn't set out for for to be here at this chapter of my life, but by golly, I am grateful for it. I really am. I just, I'm saying yes to the universe, but also I'm saying yes to uh, giving my time and energy to what I believe in. And that includes picking good art. You know, we are in some very desperate times right now. And so when I'm looking at a script, when I'm considering what I'm going to touch and put my time and energy into, it really matters. Um, and sometimes as an artist, you can feel like, "Oh, how am I moving the needle? I'm over here doing show business. But artists are, we are the trailblazers. Oftentimes we're the ones taking the blows in the front of the line and putting a mirror up and showing you a reflection of yourself. And I think that's very valuable work. And so no, I didn't see myself being here as the artistic producer, but this role as being part of the triumvirate with Scott Goldman and Chris Bailey has opened up more doors and opportunities to not just do my own work, but create paths for other artists to come through the door. And perhaps even artists that we're not used to always seeing on our stage. So this is an exciting time for us.
Yeah, with Edgar Herrera now as the big part of the team there, and I go back to all the days of David Saint, and so it's wonderful to see that George Street continues to grow with his retirement. He was such a fabulous, bright light in local theater and beyond. That it's great to see that GSP continues to move along. All of you have had experiences in television, film, and on stage, and I guess every time I ask the same question about, what's best, most people will say on stage. But for young actors, Christine, should they dab in everything? Does it make you a better overall?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I say be open to all possibilities. And you never know what's going to come from it. I did start in the theater as a young person, but I've also loved working on TV series and more television than film. But some of my most fulfilling experiences have also been on television. So I think going back to what Leona said, there is a question that I ask myself whenever I um, look at a project that I want to work on, whether it's film, television, theater, and that is, what kind of impact can I have with this, with my work? And so I think the opportunity to reach, whether it's the New Brunswick audience or the people in New York City or Kansas City or San Francisco, wherever it is, the opportunity to reach people and show the world as you hope it is or see it itself with your own empathy is really a goal that I'm very attached to in everyday life.
We talked about it briefly, but for me, what even when I'm just doing my classes, college classes, and they're not theater classes, obviously, but I mentioned, is there somebody in your family that you haven't reached out to in a long time? Give them a call. Interview them, ask them some questions, find out more about them, start this conversation because they won't be around forever and you're going to lose that opportunity. And this is part of this show too, what's become of us because the reuniting of you two as siblings, don't let too much time go, right? Don't let too much time go before you reach out to that special person. It doesn't have to be brother, sister. It could be an aunt or uncle. It could be a grandfather, somebody. And Francis, you're shaking your head, so I know you kind of agree with that whole thing.
I have, um, I lost my parents 11 and 10 years ago. And it felt like a great um, loss of opportunity to get to know them. And it's true, there are so many things that I wish I could ask them now. But what I've learned over time is that grief becomes a friend, and that I can still chat with them, and I still hear them, I still feel them, and I am grateful for that. And I hope that when other people lose people, that they can feel that too. They can feel their loved ones close again, because they become a part of you. You've breathed the same air. You share some cells, and um, I think that if you're open, you might just feel them right nearby.
I have a quick little story to tell you. For the holidays, my daughter had someone create a picture of my parents, who were both gone, with my 1.5-year-old grandson and what he would look like in their laps.
Wow.
And when he saw that picture, you would swear that he had seen them before,
Hmm.
and they weren't around when he was born.
Hmm.
And the reaction caught on video is he's talking to both of them like, yeah, okay, Grandma, Papa, yep, I know you. They
Hmm.
are present in our lives, and it's a beautiful thing that you talk about there is to remember them and keep the memory strong. I'm sorry to hear that it's been a while since you've been able to enjoy your parents, but you're giving us the gift of your extreme talent that they gave you, that they passed along all these things to you, these special qualities that have made you not only become a Tony Award winner, but a compassionate person. And so this is the time. This is the week. You got to get out there. What became of us? Cheyenne Lefty's new play that's directed by Laiona Michelle, part of GSP's artistic producing triumvirate. The play running through this weekend, April 5th. Christine, great to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Francis, an honor as well to have you here.
So much for chatting.
Leona, we hope to see you again because I know that you're going to be doing other great things with GSP and then on your own front. So, do you have any other special projects that you want to tell us about before we go?
Well, we have our upcoming show is My Lord, What a Night. It runs April 28th through May 17th by Deborah Brevoort, directed by Sheldon Epps. So this show, oh, it's a beautiful show. It's a history play. World famous contralto Marian Anderson, who's turned away from a hotel in Princeton, and she finds an unexpected friendship with Albert Einstein. So this is a beautiful, beautiful new play with music, and that is coming up. So I just want to invite your guests to visit our website at georgestreetplayhouse.org.
Absolutely, and that's also where you can find out the details for the week's run through April 5th for this wonderful show, What Became of Us.
April 5th is Sunday. We close. Get your tickets now. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. It's an honor to talk to all of
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. You
Always a
too.
pleasure.